Niall Hand and John Troy, who had a major part today in bringing that minor trophy to Offaly. Well, the noise and the atmosphere is building up now from the Tipperary and the Antrim supporters who gave their support to the minor teams here today, but of course now they're coming into full voice because they're about to see their teams come out here onto the pitch at Croke Park for the senior game, and a great atmosphere there is. Now, we were saying earlier on that Antrim have actually taken the hill today. They were given possession of the hill, whereas down on the other side, the canal end of the pitch, it's the Tipperary supporters, and they are in full voice down there. Now, you can just about see the head of Jackie Charlton, the Irish soccer manager there. In fact, there he is himself. I don't know if he's taking any notes here today on any of the players and hoping that he might be able to turn them into international soccer players for Ireland. Well, who knows? The cheers of the Antrim people there on Hill 16, and that's our shot from behind 16 from our camera, which is launched outside the ground and looking into Croke Park here today. Well, no scores there yet on the scoreboard for Antrim or Tipperary. I wonder what that scoreboard will read a little bit later on today. So that's the scene then, the Tipperary supporters down there at the canal end. We'll be rejoining them and rejoining you after the commercial break for the All-Ireland semi-final. Magnificent scene here at Croke Park today, and magnificent to see the saffron of Antrim here on All-Ireland's final day as their supporters raise the cheer for their team. Antrim, Antrim, the shout all around the ground. Tipperary are trying manfully to match that from the other end as both sets of supporters now are beginning to get into the swing of things, although there's still a half an hour to go to the senior game itself, and I think the tension will be building up at this stage both inside and outside the dressing rooms here at Croke Park. And inevitably the chance of here we go, and that comes from both sets of supporters. The President of Ireland, Dr. Hillary, goes back again after congratulating the Offaly minor team and presumably commiserating with the Clare team. Let's join Jimmy Magee down at the tunnel entrance now, because Jimmy has been with the Tipperary players all of yesterday and all of today, and he will know better than anybody exactly what kind of form they're in right now.
Well, I travel in on the bus with the Tipperary team, and I can assure you that the mood there is very good. They assure me they all slept well last night. Nobody sneaked out for a quick pint or anything like that. And if it was a sneak out, they're certainly not going to tell me. They look relaxed, the Tipperary team. They have no injury worries. The only man with a little problem is Pat Fox, the right corner forward. Pat has his left knee strapped. You'll see that during the game. He's hoping it will hold out, and so say all of us. Now, coming into the dressing room area today, a young Tipperary supporter on the upper deck shouted down at Bobby Ryan, the Tipperary captain, in reference to Tipperary's number of All-Ireland wins. 23 today, Bobby. And quick as a flash, the tip captain looked up and he said, I wish I was. One thing we'd like to record is that Bernie O'Connor, the Galway selector, who was a little controversial perhaps in the semi-final, went into the tip dressing room only a couple of minutes ago. They called for hush and he wished them all the best of luck. Shook hands with his counterparts in tip. Well done, Bernie. It took a big man to do that. How do I think the game will go? Well, really, it's got to be Tipperary. But I'd love to see Antrim do well, and that's just not being patronising. I'll make one forecast, though. I bet that Nicholas English has his greatest ever game in the big time today.
Yes, Jimmy Magee putting his money on Nicholas English in this year's final. Well done to Bernie O'Connor of Galway as well. So the tension mounts then as we prepare for the 1989 All-Ireland final. Let's get a little bit more of the atmosphere down there on the pitch, and of course the assembled Artane boys band, past and present. The Artane Boys Band, or I suppose more correctly they might be called the Artane Boys and Men's Band today. But now we've just been hearing from Jimmy Magee, who's been with the Tipperary players all this weekend. George Hamilton has been in a similar situation with the Antrim team. Let's hear what he has to say minutes before they come out onto the pitch.
Well, not one of them that I've spent the last 24 hours with believes there can be any result other than an Antrim victory. You can forget all about injury scares. Terry Donnelly is perfectly okay. You can forget all about the hassles of the wedding night. Kieran Barr arrived this morning and he's okay too. They took their photo call at Malahide. They looked like men very relaxed indeed. I would have to observe though that when they went out to Malahide Castle to puck around for a while, there was a tinge of nervousness creeping in. On the coach to Croke Park, they looked nervous too. But then why wouldn't you when you're going into the Lions' Den against the red-hot favourites? But I've been speaking to very good authority, Bishop Tony Farker from Down in Connor, who's been in the dressing room to tell me that they're so relaxed it's almost untrue. They're really looking forward to what's ahead of them today, and Antrim firmly believe they can upset the apple cart and win. I would just observe too that Croke Park and All-Ireland final day is something else. I've been here and there around the world, but I think you've got to come to Croke Park on an All-Ireland final day, and particularly in hurling, to savour a very special atmosphere. And when, like me, you have a little connection from the county of Antrim, well then, it's got to be a little bit special. Antrim to win. Who's going to deny it?
Well, we wouldn't dare to deny you, George, on this special day for Antrim. Well, a great cheer has just gone up here at Croke Park, but in actual fact it was for the boys and girls who have been displaying the Irish National Teachers Organisation skills organised in the national schools, and they just came out of the dressing room area to give everybody a flutter. It'll be another few minutes before we see the teams. While we're waiting for them, let me go back to my panel, Liam O'Donoghue and Jim Healy. Liam, the moment of truth has come for Tipperary. They've been talking about winning All-Ireland. Now the chance is there for them to do it, even more so I suspect than last year. Can they do it?
That's true, Michael. The day of reckoning definitely has come for Tipperary. Their supporters, I think, are very confident at the moment. The team must be confident. They say you've got to lose an All-Ireland before you win one. They have lost one last year, so now they know they have to win it this year. I think their forward line is a lot stronger today than it was the last day. They have moved in Declan Ryan centre forward. Just take a look at their half forward line. Ryan, Leahy, and over on the other side, Cleary. A very, very fast half forward line. They say the mainstay of any team is the half back line, and I think that the Antrim half back line will have to play this Tipperary half forward line very, very tight to cut off the supply of the ball going into the full forward line. This is where I think the game will hinge today.
Jim Healy, looking at it from an Antrim point of view, they're going into this obviously as the underdogs. They're going to be very nervous in this final because it's the first time they'll ever have experienced anything like this. Realistically, what chance do they have?
I think anything can happen for Antrim today. Depends the first 10 minutes how the game goes. If they can hold Tip in those 10 minutes, anything can happen from there on. But I think on paper, if you analyse the two teams, Tip and Antrim, you'd have to give it to Tipperary without a doubt. Now, the only way Antrim can make up for what's not on the paper is how much they actually believe in themselves. You know, how strong is their faith that they can win there today. I've been listening to them and reading about them during the week, and they sounded pretty confident. Now, if that's real confidence, and if they have that firm faith that they can do it, that could complement the lack of skill and things otherwise that they may not have in comparison to Tipperary.
Well, I know that some of the Antrim officials absolutely won't hear tell of them being beaten here at Croke Park today. Well, now obviously our panel have been studying the form of the two teams. Nobody perhaps has been studying the two teams more closely than Ger Canning, who is our big match commentator for the day. Let's get Ger Canning's thoughts just before this final commences.
Well, Michael, as you say, the teams will be out very shortly. It's a very nervous occasion just now for both teams. Make no mistake about that. Inside the dressing rooms, it's a mix of chaos and calm. I was down there a little while ago, of individual good wishes to one another. A last word from Babs Keating to his Tips charges, and Jim Nelson, no doubt, to his Antrim team as well. Key points being re-emphasised. Tip being quoted, of course, by some bookmakers at 10-1 on favourites. Nice little story I heard, if we have enough time for it. When Antrim beat Offaly here last month, their players went up into the upper tier of the Hogan stand to watch Tipperary against Galway. And as that ended and the Tip Legion saluted their stars, one Tipperary lady was heard to utter, "Thank heavens the McCarthy Cup will be back after 18 long years," whereupon an Antrim player just behind her chipped in, "Tell you what, missus, make it 19. Yeah, Tip are hot favourites, Michael, but if they fail, they'll be known not as the team that ended the famine, but as the side that fuelled the drought. And Sambo and all the others will hope to do their little bit." It's a superb occasion, spectacular atmosphere, as George Hamilton mentioned just a little while ago. It certainly is the place where Gaelic Ireland is to be found on this beautiful September afternoon. The Antrim fans up there in Hill 16, we're looking down at the canal end, down where the Tipperary Legions are to be seen, quiet just now, waiting, expectant, and looking forward to seeing their team with Nicky striking faster than unfussed. Those Tipperary fans here all weekend, some of them outside scrounging for the last remaining few tickets, black market or whatever. They wanted to get in here, they wanted to see this match, they're so confident. But Lochgiel, and I'm sure that particular banner, which we can't see the complete banner there, I have a funny feeling they tip Antrim. Yes, Lochgiel, the great hurling quarter up there in the glens of Antrim, and in various places around Lochgiel right now, and indeed all over County Antrim. People who perhaps have never seen a hurling match before, people perhaps from the other side of the divided loyalty, as it were, in the north, are watching Antrim to see, can they possibly win the McCarthy Cup for the very first time in their history. They're hoping to do what Offaly did here in 1981. And Kieran Barr, in his 5th championship match, leads out the men from Antrim. And listen, it's one of the warmest receptions ever to greet an All-Ireland final team. Against the odds, can they confound the experts and win their first McCarthy Cup? Look at that superb scene up there on Hill 16. It's a moment the players will all look back on later. The fans too, irrespective of the outcome. And they'll say, I was there, I took part. That photograph which they're poised to take right now, no doubt that will be treasured, irrespective of the result. Antrim, who beat Down in the Ulster final, the first Ulster final for 43 years. Kieran Barr there, lining up in that photograph, also starred against Kildare, the All-Ireland B champions in the quarter-final, and put 4-15, as you know, past Offaly in the All-Ireland semi-final just 4 weeks ago. Things have been on a mighty high since then. Leonard McKeegan there, and all the youngsters like Gary O'Kane, many of them unknowns, as it were, outside of the county of Antrim, and Ulcan McFetrich there on the left, one of the top forwards, and I predict he may well have a very important part to play in this afternoon's drama. Who can tell? The Tip fans now waiting for their team as Dominic McKinley, the centre half back there with Terry Donnelly beside him, and the colourful Niall Patterson. Brian and Desi Donnelly at the back, Donal Armstrong on the left-hand side there alongside his captain. A proud moment for them. The rank outsiders, 6-1 being quoted on this team to win. And Niall Patterson, who says he'll be singing in Malahide tonight. I wonder, as the Antrim team goes back and limbers up in front of the colourful crowd up on Hill 16 in front of the faithful followers from the north. They've come from every county in Ulster, and Tipperary fans know that there are 30 counties really backing Antrim this afternoon in this David and Goliath clash. The match everybody's been looking forward to. Antrim hoping they get off to a flying start, hoping their full backline can consolidate and hold out against Pat Fox, Cormac Bonner and Nicky English, the tip full forward line. They're hoping that Ulcan McFetrich will get some change in the attack. The announcement. And now it's Tip's turn, and Bobby Ryan leads out the men from Tipperary, the Munster champions. Is this finally to be Bobby's day? Most of the pundits think so. Bobby with a well-balanced side, seeking to atone for last year. Bob skating there with a smile on the face in more relaxed mood this afternoon. And the huge Ardfinnan flag up there on the canal end. The blue and gold everywhere, up around that side of Croke Park. Tip bidding to bridge a gap of 18 years. 1971, the year Tip won the McCarthy Cup for the 22nd time, and Cormac Bonner there with a quick pat onto the side of Noel Sheehy saying, let's get it going, and Conor O'Donovan going back there to be part of the photograph. That's Colin Bonner, keyed up, anxious. Expectations are simply enormous, but will they weigh heavily on the players' minds? Tip with just 2 defeats in their last 13 championship matches under Bab skating. Munster champions, of course, as well, for the 3rd year in succession. Bobby Ryan proudly there, standing at the back of the photograph to the right alongside Declan Ryan and Conor O'Donovan as we pan along, and there's Ken Hogan, their fine goalkeeper, and they are psyching one another up, it's clear, with Declan Carr there having a word to the goalkeeper saying, come on, we can do it, this is the moment. 15 minutes to go now before the start of the match. And good afternoon now from Croke Park in Dublin to the All-Ireland Hurling Final, to viewers of Channel 4 all over Britain. The final, one of the showpiece occasions of the Irish sporting year, a hurling game with great skill and terrific speed, as you'll see, no doubt. The finalists this year, a novel pairing, Tipperary and Antrim. Tip champions of Munster in the south, Antrim the Ulster champions. 2 sides with contrasting histories. Tipperary with a fine success rate up to the early 70s, but failing to make the breakthrough since. And Antrim appearing in just their 2nd All-Ireland final, the last in 1943. Hope you enjoy the final with us as we also say hello to our viewers across the United States of America, in Canada, and down in Australia as well. A very good morning to you in Australia, and good morning US as well. Hope you enjoy the 1989 All-Ireland Hurling Final. And so as they warm up in the centre of the field, this is how the Antrim team will line this afternoon. This is their lineup.
Niall's a happy-go-lucky lead guitarist known to his pals as Floyd. Pappy, as he's called, made his debut against Tip and marked Nicky English. Nicknamed Hippie, he came through a fitness test in midweek. Corner forward last year, but he excelled at corner back against Offaly. Arguably the side's most consistent defender, he's a brother of substitute Danny. Had the distinction of hitting the final point against Offaly 4 weeks ago. When he's not starring in the saffron and white, he's a very keen pigeon fancier. An all-star nominee for the last 3 years and a very much in-form midfielder. Substituted against Offaly, he's capable of a good man-to-man marking job. A brother of Desi, he first played in the senior team when he was a mere 18-year-old. Beaver here had a sensational match against Offaly, scoring 2 goals and 4 points. In last year's semi-final, Clute scored 1-5 against him. His illustrious father Kevin played in the 1943 All-Ireland final. Ulster's first All-Star, Kieran, the team captain, was married yesterday. In defence or attack, there's no stopping the irrepressible Sambo.
Talent, commitment and a burning ambition to triumph certainly among those Antrim players. And so to the Tipperary team. We'll have that very shortly for you, but I can tell you that the toss has just taken place. It was won by Bobby Ryan here, and he's going to play from right to left in the first half, and they will be wind assisted in the first half. A gentle breeze blowing from right to left. Ken Hogan there, the goalkeeper, whose superb second half save against Antrim a year ago tipped the scales in favour of the blue and gold. And there's Babs Keating, the manager, who played at left corner forward for Tipperary the last time they won the McCarthy Cup. And so we'll take a look at that Tipperary lineup, lining up as selected, with all reporting fit and eager to play.
Ken's the worthy successor at club and county level to the great Tony Redden. An exciting cornerback who always looks tough and unyielding. Reporting fully fit again, having been forced off injured in each of his last 2 matches. Seeking a first senior hurling medal for his club's Silver Mines. A lively wing-back who's made the number 5 shirt virtually his own. If Tips succeed, there will hardly be a more popular or deserving captain. A skillful and classy defender who comes on in the wing in place of Paul Delaney. Didn't start against Galway, so today he'll have a point to prove. An exciting last 12 months for Declan. Can he now crown it with a medal? A talented forward of tender years, poised to play in his second All-Ireland final. Captain of the successful under-21 team, he moves on to the 40 for this afternoon's showdown. A noted finisher, Michael only made his championship debut in this year's Munster final. Renowned for his penetrating runs and assured scoring touch. The third member of the Bonner clan, he's been a revelation this season for Tip. Leading scorer Nicky has won every honour the game can offer, bar one.
So the Tipperary team then, as we say, hoping to bridge an 18-year gap. Agus in Ishar Bal Biog Ben the Ford now Corinahana, the Uchter on the Hayden, he did Tridham Trastanish on Boyd and Lekela. Tipperary here on the right and Antrim on the left-hand side. It's been a splendid morning here in Dublin weather-wise. We had sunshine up to about 11:30 or so, and a fine dry day now as Michael Cleary is the player in shot just a moment. 4 points has been his return from 2 championship matches to date. He's having a very good year indeed. Pat Fox there, about whom Jimmy Magee was telling you that one of his legs, the left knee, is strapped. And that's the setting here at Croke Park on this first Sunday in September. Croke Park, Dublin, the setting, as always, for the All-Ireland hurling final. And the two sides now lining up, and in a moment or two they'll be presented to the President of Ireland, Dr. Patrick Hillery. A little bit disappointed, I imagine, that the Clare Miners failed to make it in the opening match, as he's a Clare man. Clare Miners beaten by 7 points by Offaly in the minor decider just before this one in what was a splendid game of hurling. Kieran Barr, who was married yesterday, a deep intake of breath as he captains the side this afternoon. Players attempting to conceal all the nerves that they're feeling just now. Remember, they are all amateurs, they all have other jobs, and Ulcan McPetrich there will be returning to his job like all these other guys on Tuesday morning. Mind you, I imagine if Tipperary win this, or Antrim, they'll probably be taking a break of a good week. So John Dowling accompanies President Hillery. John Dowling, the president of the GAA, shaking the hand there of Kieran Barr and Patrick Hillery, our president, being introduced first of all to Niall Patterson, the big musician from Lockheed, and Terry Donnelly from Ballycastle. that most splendid part of County Antrim. I was up there last week, and all they can think about, all they can talk about is hurling and more hurling. It's breakfast, dinner and tea, and they're still replaying videos of their semi-final match here against Offaly, as Donal Armstrong, a proud moment for him, and Sambo McNaughton. They all have nicknames, or most of them at least have nicknames, and the referee this afternoon, 40-year-old Pat Delaney, now being introduced to President Hillary. Pat Delaney from Rathdowney in County Laois, handling his first senior All-Ireland final this afternoon, and now it's Bobby Ryan's turn to shake the hand of John Dowling, the GAA president, on the left, and President Hillary now being introduced by Bobby to the Tipperary Charges, players who've been together now for the most part for the last 3 years. In 1987 they made that great breakthrough by winning the Munster Championship for the first time since 1971. Last year defeated finalists in the All-Ireland by Galway. This year they hope to complete their cycle, as Nicky English has a warm greeting there for President Hillary. Nicky, who's a little nervous, a little tentative, as all these players are, wanting to do so well. Bobby with a big broad smile on his face, and the good wishes from President Hillary. So the introductions of the teams then completed, and the President makes his way up into the Ord Coyle section of the Hogan stand, and the parade will begin very shortly. The parade, an integral and traditional part of the Ulster final day. So the sides led by the Artane Boys Band and some of their senior members as well, under their outstanding director Joe Lynch. Niall Patterson there, stepping into unison, and superb colour as Bobby Ryan leads Tip, and Kieran Barr leads Antrim, and Jimmy Magee, who joins me for commentary this afternoon. Jimmy, it's a spectacular scene, isn't it?
Wonderful, really wonderful. Tipperary looking for to bridge that long gap. Antrim wanting to bridge an all-time gap. Kieran Barr, you mentioned there, he could be a key figure for Antrim. Their only all-star in hurling. He's a big man, a skillful man, and Conor O'Donovan, interesting enough, under the training of Phil Conway, has lost a stone in weight in the last 4 months. I think he would welcome at least half of that stone back to match Barr this afternoon. The Antrim forwards will run at them a bit like the Wexford teams of old. They like to play the ball in hand. They're a strong team. Tip Sugar have the advantage on the ground. A lot may depend on the type of ball, the type of service the Tip half-back line play to the full forward line. If there's a good service in there to Bonner, who did very well last time, and Nicky English, I think they can do things. Question mark perhaps against the Tip full-back line, against the strong Antrim full forward line, and I expect to take good individual performances from Ulcan McFetrich, who really has a scent of goal. And as I said in the preview of this match down at the Players' Tunnel, I'll be disappointed if Nicholas English doesn't have the game of his life today.
Well, we certainly will be looking for that. Antrim appearing here for just the second time, the last time 1943, and that was one which they shouldn't have even been here, because they weren't a senior championship team at the time. They were a junior hurling county and had been for 19 years before that, but when the junior championships were suspended, they were admitted to the senior ranks and beat Galway and Tipperary en route to Antrim's one and only previous final. Bobby Ryan hoping he'll be taking the McCarthy Cup back down to Thurles tomorrow night for the big celebrations that they've planned. But have they been to previous? Is there an Antrim response? The Antrim fans away there in the distance, colourful, spectacular. What a scene this is, reminiscent of Armagh when they were here against Dublin in 1977, and Tyrone when they brought their spectacle and colour to Croke Park in 1986 against Kerry. That was in football. This is the All-Ireland hurling final. Now, just about 5 minutes away from the start. Deafening cheers from fans all over the place. Obviously hoarse already, I would think, or near hoarse. I wonder will they have any voice left. So the team's going back into their positions. Antrim men there in a huddle with Jim Nelson and PJ O'Mullen, the selector, in there with words of inspiration, no doubt. Mullen there with his back to us. Jim Nelson, the manager, who's led them since 1986 to terrific success, taking them into Division 1 of the league and also into this All-Ireland final. Cleary making his way down. The statistics about Michael, 22 years of age. So the scene is just about set for the 102nd All-Ireland hurling final, the first ever between these counties, Tipperary and Antrim. Antrim in the saffron and white. A match which we hope that viewers here in Ireland, across in Britain, in America, in Canada, and live in Australia as well, thoroughly enjoy. Nicky English there. In the past he's run up impressive scores against Antrim, like 2-7 in the quarterfinals of the league last year and 1-7 in the championship last August. And so all the pre-match rhetoric ceases. It's time to salute the national flag on one of Ireland's greatest sporting occasions. The national flag gently blowing in the breeze like a Shahanish Auron Navian. Of destiny for Tip and Antrim, the moment when fantasy ends and reality surely begins. Can Tip, here in front of their fans, justify their role as red-hot favourites? Are Antrim ready yet to be champions? All is about to be revealed. Pat Delaney being called across straight away here by the official on the far side, Pascal Long, and that's the Tipperary bench. Dennis O'Connor there, and Dennis, I think, is being asked to leave the bench over there. He's a member of the supporters club, and part of the backroom team has done terrific work to boost Tipperary hurling in the last few years. He's been asked to leave. Officials only over there. So Pat Delaney getting ready as it's the jersey which Ken Hogan is wearing. They were unhappy with the colour, thinking it was too similar to Antrim's one. That's the reason why he's been asked to go across there. 35 minutes each way. And Pat Delaney gets this 102nd All-Ireland hurling final underway, and Declan Ryan setting Tip off into an early attack, and that will be an Antrim sideline ball. The first 10-15 minutes vital, in particular for Antrim. Nervous moments for them as Desi Donnelly prepares to take this sideline cut. Right into the centre, towards Paul McKillen. Met by Declan Ryan. Stalemate as James Mack tries to get it out into the centre. Conal Bonner. And again the ball over the far sideline. Antrim making ground on the far side of the field. This is Paul McKillen from Ballycastle. Hurled very steadily during that absorbing semi-final win here 4 weeks ago. Noel Morris in the background with Tommy Barrett and the Tipperary subs. Paul McKillen's cut. Held by John Heffernan. Driven down over the head of Dominic McKinley. Desi Donnelly is coming out from left corner back. McKinley is back there. It's picked up by McKeegan. Towards McCarry. Beautifully caught by Conal Bonner into Colin Bonner, his brother, whipped on smartly down towards Cormac Bonner. With Terry Donnelly there as well. Cormac Bonner and Fox in. Alert, sharp, looking for an opening score. The referee has an advantage, and it's driven wide finally by Michael Cleary. Cleary was following up very smartly that time after that fine penetrating run by Pat Fox. Well, there were questions about the strength of this Antrim full back line, and Pat Fox was smartly in to test its shape and its mettle that time. He lost that ball following the challenge, and Cleary was following up and wide. Back in the centre, a sideline ball.
Nicholas English was wide, nobody marking him. First Bonner, and then Fox had a spot of him. He was clear, unmarked, for at least 5 or 6 seconds.
So plenty of evidence of nerves so far, and Paul McKillen is ready to take yet another sideline ball, still scoreless. Just over 2 minutes gone in the opening 35 minutes. Faces peering there to get a little view of the action as McKillen cuts it in. It's cut by Conal Bonner, driven deep out of defence down towards Pat Fox, there with Desi Donnelly. Declan Carr going across to take the sideline ball for Tipperary. His third championship match for Tipperary this afternoon, having started against Limerick and been withdrawn that day. He certainly justified his recall with a satisfactory semi-final performance against Galway. Low in towards Cleary, looking for the opening score. Is that on its way? It is. Michael Cleary, the scorer. His 5th point in this year's championship, giving Tip the lead. Niall Patterson's puck out. That's nicely on towards Michael Cleary. James McNaughton is his marker. That's Cleary. And that's just inches to the right of the post and wide. One of our colleagues watching this match in hospital this afternoon, Jim Carney. Good afternoon to you, Jim. Hope you're enjoying it. Niall Patterson from Lochiel Shamrocks. Conceded just 1 goal in 3 championship matches so far. A mighty puck out against the breeze. Dominic McMullen in there with Paul McKillen. McKillen whipping onto it. It's caught smartly, however, by Noel Sheehy out of defence for Tipperary. Down towards Michael Cleary. Run on to Nicky English. Nice pick up, the first piece of action against O'Kane. Slotting it forward towards Cormac Bonner. Not the best use of possession because Bonner wasn't expecting it. Well, he was trying to bring Cormac Bonner into the match that time with an alert little pass, but Bonner wasn't expecting it. Terry Donnelly with a word there to Gary O'Kane. There was a suggestion indeed up in the north last week that James McNaughton might be the one who'd marked this man, Nicky English. Kieran Barr out there on the half-forward line. That's not surprising, as Desi Donnelly, or as Brian Donnelly rather, has gone in full forward, and Colin Bonner here with a stinging hand injury. Dominic McMullen, well set up in towards Terence McNaughton. McNaughton with the ball in his hand, looking for space, not getting it. Bobby Ryan closing him down quickly. Again Bobby Ryan against Terence McNaughton, and Sambo running out of space, and it's John Heffernan following it out there eagerly, and then a high challenge, and that's going to be a free into Antrim. A free into Antrim for a high challenge there on Leonard McKeegan. McKeegan was right up with the attack that time, he with the black helmet, and the referee said it wasn't a fair shoulder-to-shoulder challenge. The feet of Alcan McPetrich, bidding to put the sides on level terms. A tricky angle, and he's put it wide. Antrim's first wide, Tip with 3 wides, but Tip with a 1-point lead. And a very good afternoon as well to Network 2 television here in Ireland. You've just joined us, I gather, and you are very welcome indeed. In the All-Ireland final, Tipper ahead by 1-0. Leonard McKeegan under the dropping ball there with Desi Donnelly. Dominic McKinley trying to get it out. Pat Fox trying to get it in towards John Lahey. Nice skill, good vision, spotting Colin Bonner in an advanced position. Still Colin Bonner going in on his own, a good solo run, but can he finish with a score? It's outside to Cleary, stopped by Patterson. Out as far as Gary O'Kane for Antrim, and Antrim living dangerously down there in defence. That's up to Kieran Barr, the mighty captain of O'Donovan Ross's in Belfast, advancing, looking for the equaliser. He's put it wide. Another good opportunity that time. Antrim's best, surely. Well, Kieran Barr, they say about him that he is regarded as a man for the big occasion and a player who revels in the open spaces of Croke Park. It was Colin Bonner at the other end. When that was broken up after he ran into space and played it wide outside, nothing really came of it. Back with the action, Cormac Bonner and Pat Fox. Doesn't need too much space to get the shot in to Niall Patterson. Patterson, a high challenge that time, and the referee speaking to Nicky English. English is the player who's been called across for that challenge there on Niall Patterson. He was booked in the match against Galway, remember. But this was the challenge as Niall Patterson was going in there. Watch for number 15, Nicky English, coming across. The referee regarded it as a dangerous challenge. Patterson here has taken the last month or so off from his musical duties. The lead guitarist then and goalkeeper. Another huge one, dropping in the tip-half backline. Declan Carr going back, making it secure. Good catch. Down towards Pat Fox. Beaten for it by Desi Donnelly. That's going to be quite a duel this afternoon. Across to Kieran Barr, operating at right half forward. Trying to get it forward to Dominic McMullen, broken up by Colin Bonner. And this is James McNaughton, the brother of substitute Danny, in towards Kieran Barr, not getting a great deal of length in the back. But reaching Kieran Barr, fouled in possession that time by John Kennedy. And a free to Antrim, which will take some of the pressure off their defence. Antrim looking to players like Kieran Barr, like Alcan McFetridge, and like Aidan McCarry, who really hasn't had a chance so far to shine in a match which is now 8.5 minutes old. James McNaughton, the one who's going to take this one. From 65 metres out, again it's got a tail in it, and despite the best efforts of Sambo McNaughton to keep it in play, no luck. So just 1 point to show so far. Tip the Masters.
3 wides though that Antrim can ill afford, but one man who's making an impression for them is Kieran Barr, playing at right half forward. His height, his weight, his skill and his fetching ability certainly causing problems around the midfield, particularly for John Kennedy.
Dominic McMullen anxious to shine in this match, having been substituted in the last game against Offaly. That's John Kennedy drilling it across towards Pat Fox. Watched it delightfully drop over the head of Desi Donnelly. Stumbles. That's given Donnelly just enough time to get in, put in a challenge near the sideline, and the referee says the Antrim defender was holding Pat Fox. The left arm raised, and it's going to be a free in for Tipperary. Pat Fox with that damaged knee, which has caused him some bother in the last few championship matches. He missed the concluding stages of the league, including the league final against Galway. That's the scene inside in the full back line. That's Terry Donnelly, number 3. Cormac Bonner there with a bandage, it seems, inside the helmet as Nicky English is poised. Cheering from the Antrim fans. The strike from English, and the umpires consult, and the white flag is raised, and it's a second point. A point for Nicholas English, a point from a free, and it's 2 points to 0. So just 1 point from play so far, that credited to Michael Cleary from Nina. Tips left half forward. Patterson's puck out. McMullen under it with McCarry. McCarry met it. That's in towards Brian Donnelly. Tried to turn Conor O'Donovan, not succeeding, and it's away by Declan Carr. Dominic McKinley, centre half back. Woody, as they call him. Conal Bonner has started well. That's a good fetch as well. Nice bit of judgment on his left-hand side across towards Michael Cleary, beaten by James McNaughton to Dominic McMullen. Low towards McCarry once again, getting there ahead of Bobby Ryan. Trying to link up with Brian Donnelly. That's a good piece of interchange from Antrim. Can they finish with a score? No! Wide of the target again. Antrim's 4th wide. Tip with 3 wides, but Tip, as we said, 2 points to the good. He was the man who got the opening score in the semi-final last year against Tipperary. That was after 9 minutes. Ken Hogan here, who recently led Lurra to the North Tip title. That was Declan Carr. Dominic McKinley, centre half back, wide, and John Kennedy judging it well and letting it hop out harmlessly out over the sideline. Padraig Horan from Offaly is the linesman on this near side. An old Leinster team of officials this afternoon. The sliotar there hit well, met well by Kennedy. Gary O'Kane, the under 21-year-old, the youngest member of the Antrim team, in trouble. Assisted by Terry Donnelly, gets it out as far as Paul McKillen. McKillen lifting the storm with a left-sided chip down to Malcolm McFetridge. Terry Donnelly there with Declan Carr. Met well. That's John Lahey with space at a premium, as you'll gather. Lahey once again, second chance, high and wide. The level of marksmanship on offer so far, not of the highest order by any manner of means. Tip, the hottest of favourites coming into this game. Everybody but everybody, for the most ardent Antrim man, expected them to win. Antrim have their own hopes, their own plans. Paul McKillen beaten by Declan Carr. It runs on to Declan Ryan, met by Nicky English. Beating James McNaughton, and that's a good one. That's a beauty. The best point in the first of the match so far. A second point for Nicky English, a second point from play for Tipperary. They're 3 points ahead, and that's the super skill of Nicky English, well illustrated there, Jimmy.
Yes, the touch of the master. Only the master can do those sort of things. The sort of thing we expect from not once but often in this game. Beautiful score.
Antrim will have to be wary of that particular tactic. Nicky English did it with great success in the first half against Galway as well. Here's Fox, really applying the pressure now and trying to pick off their points. This is Cormac Bonner, 2 men inside, one of them English. Difficult to control, however. Closed down by 2 Antrim players. That leaves a tip man free, but the hand pass results in a foul on Nicky English as he was trying to link up with Colin Bonner. It's going to be a free in for Tipperary in a very scoreable position. Watch as Cormac Bonner had 2 players inside to aim at, one of them Michael Cleary, the other Nicky English. English found himself in some difficulty controlling the early one. Watch for Colin Bonner coming deep, and there Dominic McMullen fouling him. So a free in. English to take the free outside the 20-metre line, and it's a simple tap-over free, 4 points to 0. Nicky English with attention being required there, and a little drop of the water as well. You may well have seen there that he seemed to pick up a cut on the right hand. Declan Ryan ahead of McKinley, down towards Fox. This could be dangerous. Terry Donnelly getting it out, however, towards Leonard McKeegan. Antrim will be settled by a score. That's what they need very badly. Terence McNaughton has now moved out left half forward, and it's obvious that Malcolm McFetridge has gone forward, top of the left. Meanwhile, the words being exchanged there in this splendid scene at Croke Park this afternoon. 68,000 people here, a capacity crowd at Croke Park. The last time that Antrim played here, 1943, was during the war years. It was 1943, and transport, well, was rather difficult to come by. A challenge with McCarry there on the Tipperary captain Bobby Ryan, and the referee going across there to have a word with Pascal Long, and I think the ball may well end up being thrown in between 2 players, Bobby Ryan and Terence McNaughton. Referee wanting them both back. McMullen is poised as well, just in case it comes his way, and the referee signalling that it's going to be an Antrim ball. Malcolm McFetridge, this about 33 metres out, right near the sideline. A vital shot, this, for Antrim, just to give them a little bit of confidence with nearly 16 minutes gone in the first half. They haven't scored so far, and Malcolm McFetridge has put that right. A point by Malcolm McFetridge from a free. Now will that settle them down? The Antrim fans would like to think so. Just 3 points between them. For fans all over Britain, indeed, maybe watching this for the first time, or in Australia, a goal equals 3 points in hurling and Gaelic football. So just a goal between the teams right now. Declan Ryan beaten. McMullen getting it out to Paul McKillen. McMullen once again trying to assist his midfield colleague. Kieran Barr trying to pick it up. It runs on to John Kennedy. Cool as always. Lovely skill. Nice style. Down towards Cormac Bonner. Terry Donnelly's in difficulty, but the goalkeeper comes out. He's fouled as he was doing so. And Niall Patterson picking up knock on the head that time. The referee has signalled the free out for Antrim. This is the action again in replay. Now, was Patterson fouled on that occasion? No foul there so far. Challenge certainly. Well, down he went, but it's hard to see where there was a foul or a knock on the head, I must say. Terence McNaughton breaking it down to Paul McKillen. McKillen from midfield, high, speculatively. A real hit and hope shot, that one. And that's 5 wides now for Antrim, Jimmy.
Just a quick comment, that's the 5th wide. They'll rule those, as I said before. Quick comment on that Bonner-Patterson incident. I think Niall Patterson may have seen the rehearsal of this final and thought there was a stroke coming, but it certainly didn't come in the replay.
And so Declan Carr carries it forward towards Declan Ryan. An overhead hand pass. Making amends, however. And that's the goal! Is it? Yes! Oh, it's a goal! Declan Ryan has scored a speculative goal off the goalkeeper. 18 minutes gone in the first half, and the Canolti man hit it in, hoping for a point. And the goalkeeper put up his stick, and it glanced off the stick and went into the back of the goal. Oh, a real setback for Antrim. The Tip fans now fully confident. Well, the Antrim fans probably feel quite exasperated at this stage. Coming here with lots of hope, a good deal of confidence among themselves as well, even though they have been fairly well written off by everyone else. John Heffernan towards Declan Ryan. Picked up by Leonard McKeegan. McFetridge had set him up, but that's the position, 1-4 to 2 points. That long ball finding the man now at top of the left, Alcan McFetridge. Donnelly didn't think about a goal. He got it on his right side and put it smartly over the crossbar. Back with the action. It's Fox and a point. Clinical finishing by Pat Fox, his first of the afternoon. Tip showing some exquisite touches in attack. Well, the Tip fans absolutely surprised, and Niall Patterson the most surprised one of all following that Tip goal. John Kennedy getting it down. Kennedy's beaten for it. McKeegan going across with Gary O'Kane. Runs on towards Declan Carr. Down towards Cormac Bonner. Trying to set it up for Lahey. Post that time for Lahey. Cormac Bonner. Antrim being given a feral grilling right now by Tipperary. People who said that the opening 20 minutes would be vital. Well, that may well turn out to be the case. That goal concession was one which Antrim could well have done without. Interesting that it's John Lahey who's coming across to take the 65. First of the match so far. Dropping it into the right-hand side. Pat Fox under it with Desi Donnelly and the umpire signalling, but it beat them all. This is the incident just a moment ago, and that did come off the post indeed from the stick of John Lahey. So Tip with one off the post, and a fairly fortunate goal as well. They really are the masters so far. Terry Donnelly down towards Brian Donnelly. Across beautifully to Paul McKillen. And that's better, it's over the bar. Paul McKillen. McKillen has scored 4 points in the championship coming into this match, 2 against Down and 2 against Kildare, giving the Antrim fans a little bit of hope. Ken Hogan, both goalkeepers this afternoon, renowned for their ability to puck that ball out a fair old distance. Declan Ryan, the goal scorer after 18 minutes. Well, they all count, but I imagine that Declan Ryan would be even a little embarrassed by that particular goal. Obviously intending for a point as Dominic McKinley concedes the free, and once again Nicky English coming out to take it as he looks at the goal. And this is his target. The little chip in towards Michael Cleary, slipping. Gary O'Kane picking it up, fouled by Declan Ryan as he was trying to get away his clearance. Declan Ryan returning to the forward line, no doubt to add much needed strength and physical presence. Niall Patterson's free, brilliantly caught by Colin Bonner, excelling at this stage of the match. Declan Carr dovetailing perfectly with his midfield partner, down to Cormac Bonner. Can they engineer a score out of the move? Terry Donnelly, unyielding, slipping as he was trying to get that ball away, and it's finally Desi Donnelly who gets it out to the middle towards Kieran Barr. Collided that time with Dominic McMullen, and Tipperary said that'll do nice, and it's Declan Carr who's now fouled on this occasion by Donal Armstrong. Armstrong drifting out around the centre of the field now. In fact, in last year's semi-final, that's where he played. Let's take a look at this piece of action again as Armstrong went in very high on Declan Carr. And here's the resultant free, taken by Nicky English, and flawlessly struck over the crossbar for his fourth point of the match. Three of them coming from frees, and Tipperary then cruising into a 1-goal and 3-point lead. Nicky English, acknowledged as one of the great masters of modern hurling. Declan Ryan going back to make a bit of space for himself, making it look really easy just now. Here's Nicky English again outside the 45-minute line, half softly hitting that one in. A little bit of backspin on it, it seems, but Pat Fox has picked it up, and there's two loose men inside. One of them was Michael Cleary, having now to go back and pick it up. Here's English once again, trying to turn through. James McNaughton, still English, and taken down, and that's going to be a free. Or is it? No. The referee says no free. Interesting. The Antrim fans certainly agreed with it. Well, look at it yourselves, and was it a fair shoulder that time on English? Making his way in towards the large rectangle, challenged by James McNaughton, and the shoulder there, yes, Terry Donnelly. It's McCarry, Paul McKillen, and beats them all for pace.
Antrim's problems at the moment, apart from the scoreboard, are that they're not getting any change at all out of midfield. What's more, the short ball that Tipperary play, when they play it either intentionally or accidentally, the concentration of marking by the Antrim backs isn't good enough at this level. As against that, they've had 5 wides, so the score should only be a point in it. Still very much in it, the Ulstermen.
As we watch Donal Armstrong now certainly playing at midfield. Conal Bonner cuts out the supply of ball to the forwards. That's intended for Pat Fox, but there's nobody there right now except Desi Donnelly. Back towards Conal Bonner. He'll change the direction of the play on this occasion. That diagonal ball linking up with another youngster, John Lahey. One came off the post earlier, but this one he struck straight over the crossbar. A delightful point by John Lahey. And it all came, of course, from that slack clearance by Desi Donnelly back to Conal Bonner, who linked up with Lahey, who made the Tip fans happy once again, and the score recorded up on the scoreboard. John Kennedy, like a colossus, getting in there into midfield. That's Donal Armstrong, not with any great commitment right now, and it's Conal Bonner. James McNaughton. Well, to Tip's credit in this first half, if they read all the publicity, which they obviously must have, knowing they were red-hot favourites, they certainly haven't allowed it to upset their concentration or their determination. Again, Fox against Desi Donnelly. Sideline ball for Tipperary. Dessie Donnelly first moved into defence for a league tie against Tipperary last February, where he marked Fox, incidentally, limited him to 2 points on that occasion, and managed to score one himself. Michael Cleary stepping up for this sideline ball. 26, nearly 27 minutes gone in the first half. Well cut in, McKeegan, secure. Good fetch. Smart stroke out of defence, but only as far as John Kennedy. The tip half-backs pressing forward, looking for that loose ball, but unable to turn it to any great value on that occasion. Tip with a lot of possession. Kennedy annoyed with himself, quite furious. I hope he can't lip read. And Captain Bobby Ryan rallying his forces at centre half-back. Meanwhile, Patterson with the puck out. Tip with just a very gentle breeze in this first half. Again, it's Kennedy. He is really wound up. They're all out. Colin Bonner towards Michael Cleary. Colin Bonner again. Superb at midfield. 2-2 defenders. One of them, Leonard McKeegan, and the referee sees that Dominic McKinley concedes the free that time. Nicky English going back to retrieve the ball, and he will be the one, I think, who will take the free from around the 45-metre line. It was a lovely run through that time. And finally, Dominic McKinley, with that wild stroke, which you're not allowed to do in hurling, concedes the free. Hurling a very disciplined game. And English, as always, superb. 1-8 for Tipperary, 3 points for Antrim. English with 5 points of that impressive tally so far.
Now Kieran Barr started like a storm at right half forward, but John Kennedy got completely on top of him. Barr may have spent himself out of that spell. Now, surprisingly, he's moved to midfield, where Tip have been dominating. Kennedy is playing outstandingly well, but for me at the moment, Tip's best player is the green-helmeted Colin Bonner at midfield.
And it's his brother Connell who chips in the sideline cut. Down towards Pat Fox, read by Gary O'Kane. Good block down by Pat Fox. Cormac Bonner spreading terror again in the Antrim ranks. Oh, nice vision, linking up back there with John Lahey. Spotting he was free in a cute angle, but wide of the target, and that's Tipperary's 8th wide of this first half. Antrim have 5, and only 3 Antrim points so far from Paul McKillen, Brian Donnelly, and Elkin McPetridge with a free. Dominic McMullen now playing at right half forward, marked by Kennedy superbly. That's superb timing. It's 8 minutes now since Antrim have scored in this All-Ireland final, but watch one of the great skills of the game of hurling. Kennedy going in with the block, keeping his eyes on the ball at all times. It was perfect timing, great wrist work, and super determination. It's cut delightfully in, could have gone anywhere, but there's a push on one of the defenders, and the referee signals a free out for Tipperary. So an 8-point difference. No sign of any movement across on the Antrim bench so far, with 5 minutes to go before half-time. But there is a substitute there in the background, but I don't think he's warming up. Wouldn't be at all surprised to see Danny McNaughton introduced at some future stage. Meanwhile, it's Declan Carr. Ambitiously in, high and over the crossbar. Point comes with just over 4 minutes remaining in the first half, stretching Tipperary's lead, a lead of 9 points. That, incidentally, was Declan Carr's first point in this year's championship, a championship in which Tipperary beat Limerick, Waterford, Galway, and are now lording it against Antrim. Can they bridge the 18-year gap? On the evidence of the first half so far, the answer has to be yes. English steadying himself. Superb! His 6th point of the match. 110 to 3 points. And English crediting some of those out around the field, making it possible for him to notch such scores and delighting Babs Keating, Donny Nealon there getting off his knees, and so many other members of the Tipperary bench.
Well, an example there of the slackness of Antrim's marking. Look at the time that English had between getting possession, stopping, looking, and actually picking a spot. At this level, he should not be allowed that sort of foul.
Terence McNaughton. And that one has gone over the bar. for Antrim's 4th point. Terence McNaughton's first. In the 1943 final, they scored only 4 points, and now, 3 minutes before half-time, well, at least they've reached that tally, but they'd want an awful lot more. Tyrone Barr beaten by John Leahy, or Lahey, and another one. The shots now simply raining in there in front of Niall Patterson's goal, and John Lahey from Mullinahone has got a second. 3 minutes before the interval. The spread of scores very impressive right now among the Tipperary forwards. Cormac Bonner is the only one so far who's failed to score, but he's been involved in engineering some of the moves that led to scores. Paul McKillen, that's up neatly as far as Brian Donnelly, still knees on the ground, linking up with Donal Armstrong, turning. Antrim needing a goal to boost their hopes before the second half. It breaks out to Declan Carr, however. Across here to John Lahey. Nice style, good switch, swivel of the hips. To Pat Fox, getting there ahead of his man Desi Donnelly. Still Fox. On passing outside to Nicky English, turning inside the challenge, and another one. 6-7 points now for Nicky English. 3 of those have come from play, but he really has been a master leader in attack, and that's the tally they've amassed with just over 2 minutes to go before the half-time whistle. The goal which Antrim conceded after 18 minutes to Declan Ryan, that really was a stern body blow, because Tip have picked up the tempo of the match. And look at this for style, panache and skill by English. Tried to round Terry Donnelly, stopped, and it's gone for a 65. The referee, I think, allowed an advantage that time because English appeared to be fouled as he was going through. This was the move again by Nicky English. Gary O'Kane a good 7 yards behind him at this stage. Really having no luck. Watch for Terry Donnelly advancing, trying to block it down. A fair old crack there by Terry Donnelly. That I thought was a foul. The referee, I think, allowed an advantage, and it was blocked in any case by Patterson. Lahey will take the 65, the second in this first half. That's on its way. It's a point. John Lahey has now got 3. So everything working like a dream so far for Tipperary. Paul McKillen at midfield, there with Aidan McCarry. Comes out to Donal Armstrong. Antrim, who need leadership from the likes of Barr and McFetrich. This is Brian Donnelly. They need a goal as well. Oh, McMullen couldn't connect. A ball going away from him. And that's Colin Bonner back there, trying to sweep it out of defence. And finally he concedes a 65, I think. Or is it a free? The referee says it's a free in. Free from the 20-metre line. Colin Bonner says, I just turned my back on him, referee. And the referee penalises Tipperary by making the free, or turning it into a more favourable free, shall we say. In front of the post, just a little to the right, Alcan McFetrich drives it over the crossbar. He's got a second point. Both of those have come from frees, but this is the man they look to for leadership. So almost on the call of half-time. Antrim fans bitterly disappointed, but Ken Hogan feeling maybe that he's got an All-Ireland medal half in his grasp already as the whistle sounds. Bang on 35 minutes, and Tip, with a huge cheer from their fans, go in. The confident leaders, and she can smoke another one during half-time, happy in the knowledge that her team, with subs, delighted as well. And English, who contributed 7 points in the first half. Declan Ryan, who got the all-important goal. They go into the dressing rooms at half-time ahead by 1 goal and 13 points to Antrim's 5 points.
Yes, a half there, a tale of 2 goals. One that should have been, but wasn't for Antrim when Brian Donnelly had the goal chance. One that shouldn't have been, but was for Tipperary when Declan Ryan had the chance. Antrim with 5 wides in the half, but ill for those. Tipperary on top at midfield, and Nicholas English getting 7 points. He's the thorn. Bonner and Carr are the foundation.
They have waited 18 years down in Tipperary for the All-Ireland. They've only got another 35 minutes to go. The Liam McCarthy Cup is on its way back to Thurles. Or is it? The story continues after this commercial break.
There's something special about the Cadbury taste. Something that makes it different. A glass and a half of full cream Irish milk in every half-pound.
The Artane Boys Band has just been entertaining the crowd here at Croke Park at half-time. The Tipperary supporters, I suspect, need very little entertaining at this stage. Their team 11 points ahead right now, 113 to 5 points to score. What can Antrim do about it? Well, it remains to be seen in the second half. For the moment, we are going to enjoy the entertainment here at half-time at Croke Park. And about to entertain the crowds now is Johnny Carroll from County Galway, the man with the golden trumpet. Carroll has given a version of Sleeve Them On to stir the hearts of the Tipperary people, but right now it's a song for Antrim. Yes, the green fields of Antrim are calling to me, and I just wonder if the green fields of Antrim might not be calling home their team at this stage of the All-Ireland final, saying to them, well, it's going to be perhaps another day for you. Let me put that point to Liam O'Donoghue and to Dermot Healy. Liam, it really has been Tipperary, as I think we suspected it would be.
Well, Michael Lyster must be smiling at the moment because his team are playing tremendous hurling. They're playing exactly the way they want them to play. Their first every ball, number one. Number two is they're contesting with fierce determination. Their half-back line is on top, their centre fielder on top, and their half-forward line are on top. And actually, if you look today, it's their half-forward line has done the bulk of the scoring. They didn't even have to call on their full-forward line yet. And that's a tremendous goal for Tipperary.
Well, Liam, the big break for Tipperary came, I suppose, when they got that goal during that first half. They were on top, but it was the score that they needed to really kind of settle them into their stride. And let's have a look at it and talk us through it.
Yes, we could see Declan Carr driving the ball across. Declan Ryan missed it, picked it up, took a shot for a point, but actually the ball seemed to dip and deceived the goalkeeper completely. And that was the goal that really lifted Tip at that stage. And Antrim seemed to fall away after that.
Jim and Healy, I suppose that's the look of the game. Declan Ryan must have been the most surprised man at Croke Park to see that go in the net. Antrim missed a few chances that might have put them ahead early in the game, and that's the way it seems to be going.
Yeah, they had a lot of wides early on, and they missed 1 or 2 goal opportunities. And if they had to get that, it would have spurred them on more. But at the moment, like, Tip are outplaying them, and Tip are playing very good hurling, as Liam was saying. And it's, you know, it would seem the game is going Tip's way.
Somebody here made the point, perhaps a little bit cruelly, that the 4 wheels seem to have fallen off Antrim's wagon. Can you see any way back for them?
The 4 wheels may have fallen off. They're being badly beaten at the moment. But one thing I detected in Antrim was they're still hurling as if nothing happened. Like, they're playing with fierce determination, still playing the same type as they're playing in the beginning. But Tip are improving as the game going on. They're getting more fluent and picking off their men. Their men are picking off the scores, and they seem unbeatable at this stage.
Well, there's one thing, Dermot and Liam, that we can definitely say about Antrim. They will not give up this game without a fight. They've come down here to win. If they don't win, they've come down to certainly give a good account of themselves. But let's see what happens. There's still 35 minutes of hurling to go. The second half about to begin. Let's rejoin Ger Canning.
Danny McNaughton has just indeed come into the Antrim team, and he's moved straight into midfield as a partner there to Paul McKillen. Danny, who scored a goal and 5 points in this year's Ulster final against Down, the first Ulster final for over 40 years. And a reminder of the score at half-time: Tipperary 113, that's 16 points, Antrim 5 points. And an interested spectator here this afternoon is Neil Kinnock, incidentally. There he is in the background, the Labour leader in Britain, enjoying his first All-Ireland hurling final. At least we trust he's enjoying it. I think Dominic McMullen is the player who's made way for Danny McNaughton. So it's a straight switch at midfield. Brian Donnelly still operating at full forward. Kieran Barr out at right half forward. Start of the second half. This is the scene then. A packed Croke Park. Dominic McKinley. This is James McNaughton looking for a little space there from John Lahey. Down towards the aforementioned Brian Donnelly. Ball breaks loose, however, across towards Noel Sheehy. Flicks it away nonchalantly towards John Kennedy, trying to slip away from Kieran Barr, but it's a sideline cut. John Kennedy making the most of his opportunity. Missed the concluding stages of the league because of injury, and comes in today in place of Paul Delaney. Well, John, I think, expected to be an Antrim sideline ball. Instead, it's going to be a tip ball, one feels. And Conor O'Donovan is going across, and it's a free. So the fullback whipping it out into the Antrim half-back line. Dominic McKinley beaten for it, but it's James McNaughton now back marking Nicky English. Leonard McKeegan. That was towards Aidan McCarry. This is Sambo McNaughton towards Elkin McFetrich. Antrim to get into the rhythm. McNaughton. Oh, that was one look at John Red. It may still come off. Kennedy back there, however, for Tipperary. Getting away from a would-be challenge, but not a good clearance straight to Aidan McCarry. Antrim pressing home. Good block, however, by Conor Bonner. Superb block down on the wing-back, and Kennedy half hitting it away, but only as far as Danny McNaughton. One of the fittest players in this Antrim team. That's Donal Armstrong. Antrim coming out for the second half as though they mean business. Looking for respectability and acceptance at this high level. That's McFetrich, and there was a push, and it's going to be a free in for Antrim, and a golden opportunity of another point for them. They certainly showed a lot of resolve in that burst. Donald Armstrong getting well by Noel Sheehy. And indeed, it's a penalty. A penalty for Antrim. Yes, it was inside, but the referee signalling a penalty. A free by Bobby Ryan, or a foul by Bobby Ryan. Kennedy, Hogan and O'Donovan poised on the goal line. Aidan McCarry, who scored a penalty against Offaly. Can this bring them right back into it? It's stopped on the line by John Kennedy and whipped away. The Antrim fans numbed up on Hill 16, and the Tip fans raising their flags triumphantly once again. McCarry did as he did it against Offaly, simply threw it up, hit it wildly in there, stopped first of all by Hogan and cleared out by John Kennedy. A let-off for Tipperary, but a goal badly needed by Antrim and by this match, let it be said. Pat Fox. Nicely taken up here by Michael Cleary. Good running forward by Pat Fox. Trying to advance inside, recover at Desi Donnelly, who fouled this man. The referee Pat Delaney signalling a free against Desi Donnelly. So a chance for the opening score of the second half after all the hustle and bustle down at the other end. English, will remind you, scored 7 points in the first half. And so his first of the second half. A huge gap to make up for Antrim. A solidly hit puck out there by Niall Patterson. Bobby Ryan letting it go by. And it's Conall Bonner. Lovely pick up here by Pat Fox. A little chip into space will test the pace of Michael Cleary, but it was just hit a little too hard even for him. Sideline ball for Antrim. Leonard McKeegan going back to take it. Desi Donnelly needing a new Hurley. That's the reason for the delay.
Haven't returned midfield, and the Tip wing backs, Kennedy and young Conall Bonner, are really outstanding today. It's difficult to see Antrim really pulling anything out and getting into it, especially with Nicky.
Nicky beating James McNaughton. Inside towards Cormac Bonner. A goal, is it? Yes! Nicky English, the one who put it away finally. Tipperary 2-14. Antrim a mere 5 points and 5 minutes gone in the second half. A goal and 8 points credited to Nicky English, the leader of the attack, going around James McNaughton that time, looking up then when he had that ball in his stick, trying to see what was inside. Cormac Bonner was the first who was there. Patterson came out, and it came out off the post, down to English, and alert English put it away smartly. Meanwhile, it's Danny McNaughton with a sideline ball for Antrim. Inside to Kieran Barr. Antrim's first wide of the second half, they're 6th in all. And what's turning out to be a bitterly disappointing day for Antrim. Danny McNaughton breaking it down towards Aidan McCarry. Conall Bonner meeting it and whipping it back into the Antrim defence, but out over the far sideline. Cormac Bonner, who might well have had himself his first score in this match. The goalpost denying him. He won't worry about individual scores. He's contributing handsomely up in the attack. Kennedy letting it run out to Gary O'Kane, now at wing back. Malcolm McFetridge under at Clue, trying to get a little piece of the action. It's Conor O'Donovan getting it out into midfield. Carr beaten by McGillen, and that's Sambo McNaughton with Antrim's first point of the second half. Terence McNaughton, or Sambo as they know him, up in the Glens, his second point. John Lahey trying to hold on to that puck out from Ken Hogan. Well, just when Antrim had themselves a penalty down at the other end, which was stopped on the goal line, Tip within a couple of minutes in a breakaway get a goal at the other. Kieran Barr with Donald Armstrong, a little push from the back on. Kieran Barr, the referee, spots. And one satisfied man, I'd imagine, at this stage, Michael Babs Keating, who took over the coaching of this side in 1986. When Tip were firmly in Division 2 of the league. Now 3 Munster Championships, and perhaps an All-Ireland as well. And that's wide at the target. Off the stick of Alcan McFetridge. Or a point rather, the flag has been raised, the point indeed credited to Alcan McFetridge, and that is his third. Ken Hogan's puck out. Declan Ryan doing well on the 40. Paul McKillen with a nice block down by Declan Ryan. Terry Donnelly to the totally unmarked Colin Bonner. Look over his shoulder, it's blocked down by Danny McNaughton. And Antrim fans will begin to wonder just why McNaughton wasn't in from the very beginning of this match. English controlled and in control as always. Across to Lahey at wing forward. High, dropping down and wide. An exaggerated build-up that time, and Lahey with plenty of time at his disposal. Tip's first wide of the second half, 9th in all.
But still, the slack marking is causing Antrim all sorts of problems. No hustle down on the Antrim bench. They mustn't have a sub capable of coming into this game. Kieran Barr's now trying his luck at centre-half forward on Bobby Ryan, but no joy for them around that whole midfield diamond. It really is a total problem area for Antrim, and their marking is slack. Look at the time again English had. Look at the ball he played to the left wing there. Lahey had all the time to have a look up. I know he missed the score, but it's Antrim really at the root of the problems now. Slack marking, lack of concentration.
Conor O'Donovan with the free on his own 45-metre line. In towards Pat Fox, neatly taken up with the right hand. Back to Lahey to make amends, which he doesn't. Another wide by John Lahey, 2 in the space of a minute. Lahey with 3 points so far, one of those coming from a free. Declan Carr, Bobby Ryan here. Carr one-handed, and that's going to be an Antrim sideline ball. One of the Tipperary players based here in Dublin, taking the long route for training each night. McFetridge there at top of the left once again against John Heffernan. McNaughton missing it completely. Confidence not high in the Antrim ranks just now as Paul McKillen gets it a wide on the far side towards Danny McNaughton. It's blocked down well by Colin Bonner. Aidan McCarry. Still McCarry. Oh, it's a goal! A goal which this game has needed. And McCarry is the one to supply it. Reminiscent of the one he got against Offaly as well. Tip's lead is pegged back somewhat by that goal which has come 11 minutes into the second half. McCarry rounding John Lahey. A goal on his mind. And wide across the face of the goal and into the far corner. McCarry's third goal in this year's championship. Up at the other end is Cormac Bonner. Outside the 20-metre line. Seeking to respond, but he's put it wide. And the wides are mounting up, and Tip with 3 wides in the last 2 or 3 minutes. Niall Patterson, I'm sure, feels if Antrim can get another, who knows what could happen. Conal Bonner breaking it down as far as Kieran Barr. This is Sambo McNaughton across towards the man at top of the right, Donald Armstrong. Tight man-to-man marking all over the field. Early stages in the second half. John Lahey seeking to link up with Nicky English. It breaks out to Declan Ryan instead. Again looking for support. Two Antrim men committing themselves, and that leaves a tip man loose. On this occasion, English steadying himself, and it's wide of the target. 4 wides now in succession by Tipperary.
That's noteworthy that Nicholas English hits a wide, so he's a mere mortal too. The whole Antrim forward line has completely changed. McPetrich has gone full forward. Barr is centre half forward. McCarry is right half forward. McNaughton is left half forward. And only Donal Armstrong is playing where he began the match, top of the right. And he is free now. McNaughton wants to use him. Ger.
As Antrim bid for a little bit more shape in their side, but it's Declan Carr who breaks it up towards Pat Fox. Getting inside Desi Donnelly once again. Cormac Bonner calling for it. Fox going in on his own and putting it over the bar. His second point, Pat Fox's point, coming 13 minutes into the second half. 21 points to 10. 2:15 for Tipperary. 1-7 for Antrim. McCarry again under the dropping ball there with John Kennedy. It's whipped on, however, by Colin Bonner up to Declan Ryan. Good ground hurling. Off the stick there of James McNaughton. McNaughton on a man-to-man marking job in the second half with Nicky English. English hasn't scored from play in the second half. His 1 point coming from a free. Lahey all concentration, cutting it up, a good deep penetrating one inside towards Pat Fox. Cormac Bonner there too. Leonard McKeegan trying to stymie the movement. It comes out to English, run into a high challenge from Danny McNaughton, I think. Or from Dominic McKinley rather. It's McKinley is the one who commits the indiscretion. A high challenge right to the face that time. The centre half back having his name taken, and he becomes the first player in this final to have the name recorded by the referee. Watch it once again. English taking it up and then running straight into the high challenge, mouth high, and the referee right beside the action. So Nicky English with this simple tap over free. He's now scored a goal and 9 points. Well, he said after last year's final that it all really passed him by. This was one he wanted to remember and really play his full part. John Lahey foraging back in his own half-back line, a game competitor. McKinley getting as far as Danny McNaughton. McNaughton buzzing around midfield, trying to get some momentum going for Antrim. But again, it's Cleary who advances to English outside the 45-metre line. Back inside towards Cleary, and it reaches him. Michael Cleary has put it over the bar, and he's got a second point. This Tipperary half-forward line has been very impressive this afternoon. Aided and abetted, it must be said, by a skillful and alert full forward line. Conal Bonner jumping with Terence McNaughton towards Kieran Barr. Blocked down by sheer commitment from Bobby Ryan and from John Lahey. And Carr says thank you and lifts the siege across towards James McNaughton's wing, getting there ahead of Nicky English. Cross towards Terence McNaughton again. Antrim striving to show some enterprise, and it's McKeegan from the halfway line, and he's put it over the bar. He was right on the halfway line when he struck that one over cleanly and sweetly. Antrim a goal and 8 now. Declan Carr getting that one with some difficulty. He's had an exemplary match at midfield. That's James McNaughton beating Nicky English to that ball, but it breaks out only as far as John Lahey selling dummies ahead of Gary O'Kane. The vision then to spot that English was in an advanced position towards Pat Fox. Sharp, elusive, and superb! The fans in the stands delighted as Pat Fox puts in Tipperary's third goal. A goal and 3 points now for the number 13. Again, English involved in the build-up. It really was superbly conceived. Fox in difficulty with 4 defenders beside him, but when he got the opening, he rounded it off in emphatic fashion. Superb Fox.
Yes, superb stuff, but not alone has Nicholas English contributed 1 goal, 9 points to the Tipperary tally. His running off the ball and his unselfish distribution has contributed enormously to the entire score of 3 goals and 17 points. It's English today at his composed best, I think.
Tip with 3-4 in the second half so far. Declan Ryan again on the 40, creating menace and havoc. And a free. Well, Nicky English, it was forecast about him that he would have the best game he's ever had in the Tipperary colours. He certainly is contributing handsomely. Antrim, meanwhile, have introduced another substitute. And coming into the game is Declan McKillop in place of Gary O'Kane. So McKillop in, O'Kane out. And English nonchalantly taps it over the bar, increasing his own personal tally. His side now ahead, 3-18 to 1-8. It breaks down towards McKillop straight away. This is McCarry. And Lahey foraging back there again on his own half-back line to Declan Carr. And the referee spotted a foul on Lahey. And we spotted there just a moment ago that Nicky English seemed to be limping just a little bit. And there's Joe Hayes, and he may well be in the action very shortly. Donny Nealon and Babs Keating there checking the watch. Theo English there as well. John Kennedy, the free taker. Michael Cleary telling him out of shot to drive it in deep. But Paul McKillen has read it well. Challenged by Nicky English. Clearing to midfield. Conall Bonner, superb. I suppose if there were an award for the young player of the year, he would certainly be hot in the running. Declan Carr. Paul McKillen is, again, he's played his heart out in the Antrim colours. And once again, Fox tormenting. McKeegan selling a dummy, taking it out. Dominic McKinley calling for it. Lahey contentious to let the Antrim man have possession. And it's McKillop stumbling and driving it downfield towards Elgin McFetrich, all the way as far as Ken Hogan. Colin Bonner under the midfield, good catch. Superb midfield play being demonstrated by Tipperary this afternoon. They've been the masters the entire match so far. Beautiful skill. And Ryan taking that pass from Cleary, puts it over the bar. He's now got a goal and the point. The rot set in really after his goal in the 18th minute. People were predicting, I suppose since the semi-finals, that it would be an imbalanced final. Sadly, that's the way it's turned out to be. Kennedy. Desi Donnelly looking over his shoulder. Look where Pat Fox was. Antrim now looking for a few more scores. McFetrich pulling on it. Comes out. And a goal! Another one! For Brian Donnelly. A game of 5 goals. Antrim's second has come from Brian Donnelly. 21 minutes into the second half. So, 10 minutes after their first goal from Beaver McCarry. That ball from Desi Donnelly causing trouble in defence with McFetrich trying to get onto it, and watch as it was set up by McCarry, finding Brian Donnelly, and he rattled it into the top of the net. Superb goal. A point at the other end by Declan Carr. 3:20 for Tipperary, Antrim 2-8. Fast and furious spell in this match just now. Conor O'Donovan blocked down by Kieran Barr. Antrim bidding to stay in touch with some goals. This is Carr once again, industrious as always. Driven out by Dominic McKinley for Antrim. Towards McKillop. Beating him, however, is John Lahey. He's operated almost as an additional left half back for much of the second half, foraging down there. Declan Ryan with a fine right-handed catch. English ahead of him. Ryan with confidence, composure. And he's put it high and he's put it over the bar. He's satisfied now with a point, a goal and 2 points in all. The goal was yawning that time with over 12 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Is the one who's going off, and Joe Hayes is the one who's coming on, and this was that latest score by Tipperary. Well, if it were a tighter game, I'm quite certain that Ryan would have gone for a goal. He had support, but he was content to tap it over the bar. Meanwhile, down injured, James McNaughton, in need of attention, back on his feet. Following that puck out, it comes off McCarry. Donald Armstrong down there. Brian Donnelly rather, the second goal scorer for Antrim. Bobby Ryan driving it out of defence, up towards Declan Ryan. McKillop once again trying to get it for Antrim, but it's Michael Cleary. Half-hit shot, Leonard McKeegan, solid at left half back throughout the game. From Declan McKillop. Towards Danny McNaughton, and a disappointed Danny, who's been part of the Antrim action for nearly a dozen years now. Very much the veteran of the side, injured for the All-Ireland semi-final. Conal Bonner's sideline cut towards Declan Ryan, runs on towards Pat Fox. Outside to Declan McKillop. Kept in play by Alfie McBethridge, could have gone anywhere, and it's John Heffernan who drives it out of a jittery defence just now. Colin Bonner towards Nicky English. English with a goal and 10 points. Oh, a lovely change of direction. Linking up with Joe Hayes just in the action. Slipping at the critical moment, giving Terry Donnelly just a piece of the action out as far as Declan Ryan. And the slack clearance is punished in emphatic style. Declan Ryan has contributed a goal and 3 points. So the scores amass, and that's Joe Hayes, fitting that he should come in to share in what looks like a Tipperary victory.
Joe Hayes, and it's nice to see him in. Nice to see a man who's contributed so much over the past few years to them. Just watch for a second here as Antrim try to mount something with McKillop. Difficult for Antrim to get back into this game. We hear a lot of criticisms recently of referees. One thing that's got to be said today is that Pat Delaney from Laois has had an almost error-free game. Let's praise them when they don't have errors, just as we criticise them when they do. But the behaviour and attitude of the team has helped amazingly well. There hasn't been a dirty stroke in the entire match.
A match which is now just a little over 9 minutes still to go. Tip 3:22, Antrim 2-8. Terence McNaughton. John Heffernan coming up to take this sideline ball for Tipperary. Towards Bobby Ryan. Ryan always part of the action. Bonner there, and Antrim about to bring in Mickey Sullivan from the St. Paul's Club in Belfast. Antrim has just about 9 senior clubs in their county, so a small selection of players to choose from. A high challenge from James McNaughton there on Nicky English results in a free in for Tipperary. Donny O'Connell, who served Tipperary loyally and faithfully over the last few years, is about to share in the action as well, it seems. Donny Nealon there beside him. Meanwhile, it's Nicky English. And that's gone sailing over the crossbar, as so many others have done. He's now got a goal and 11 points. And the big cheer greets Donny O'Connell. Tony O'Connell, the second of the Tipperary substitutes. So he comes in, and just looking around to see who may have gone off. It may well be John Lahey has tired himself off. That would seem to be the case. Meanwhile, it's Terence McNaughton. James McNaughton to Kieran Barr, low inside towards Donald Armstrong, and Conor O'Donovan read it superbly, got there, and now bids to keep it away from Malcolm McFetrich. Who did he throw that one? It's John Kennedy. Towards Donny O'Connell, James McNaughton, more in tune with the match because he's been on for the entire 63 minutes so far. Here's Joe Hayes without the stick. Still Joe Hayes, stickless. Antrim regrouping with James McNaughton. Terence McNaughton down towards Kieran Barr. And it's with Beaver McCarry. A little trip that time as the fullback was coming out, and it's going to be a free from the 20-metre line. A good run forward that time, full of style and full of pace by Aidan McCarry. Donald Armstrong there inquiring as to the well-being of Antrim's number 11. Watch it again. It was a good run, and Tips fullback Conor O'Donovan came out, tripped him on the 20-metre line. Pat Delaney then, an ordinary 20-metre free. And Aidan McCarry will be the free taker. And at this stage, I'll wonder whether he will go for another goal. 6 minutes to go. A goal attempt is blocked down by John Kennedy and a combination of the other backs. Still Kennedy, stopped by Terence McNaughton, looking over his left shoulder, soloing forward. Colin Bonner. Declan Carr. And Carr once again to carry that ball forward into Antrim territory, one of the great skills of hurling. Donny O'Connell picking it up. It's again trying to raid on the Antrim backline. And that's Mickey Sullivan, just in as a substitute for Antrim, and the referee perfectly positioned to spot the foul on Mickey Sullivan. St. Paul's, the club, Jim Nelson, the team manager. Free quickly taken, and it's gone over the bar. A good point, which has been scored there by Declan McKillop. So with 5 minutes to go, it's very much as predicted. Tip have been the masters virtually from the beginning. Conal Bonner towards Donny O'Connell, Joe Hayes, the two Tipperary substitutes, with some of the Tip fans already coming in to celebrate their success. Time still remaining, still Hayes. Fox was waiting inside, fouled, and I wonder, is it another penalty? Well, the referee signals that it is a free in, and the Tip fans at this stage won't particularly worry what particular brand of free it's going to turn out to be. Pat Delaney confirming that there are 4 minutes to go with substitute Declan McKillop there. An ordinary 20-metre free, or no, it's a penalty, indeed, yes. The backs, just 3 on the goal line. Desi Donnelly, Niall Patterson and James McNaughton. The second penalty of the match, and Nicky English taps it over the bar. That was the plan. If they were sufficiently ahead, he was going to be the one who would take the penalties. He's now got a goal and 12. Time remaining just in the right-hand corner of your screen. And Tip making a third and final substitute. Michael Cleary has gone off, and Aidan Ryan has come on to share in the victory. And I think with each and every one of the substitutions Tip have made in the second half, it's been a question of giving players who deserved it a fair old run in this All-Ireland final success. Indeed, there were others whom they might well have brought on, but limited to 3, and the 2 subs taken off, both of them smiling because they realised they played their full part. Very much a team performance, a panel performance. Tip with about 24 of 5 players in their panel. Superbly fit, tribute no doubt to Phil Conway's great training, as Noel Sheehy gets another defence, but only as far as Paul McKillen, and it's Salka McPetrich looking for another score, down off Conor O'Donovan and away by Conal Bonner, who's been magnificent. Tip with so many heroes this afternoon. Their attitude was A1. They might well have gone into this match believing much of the publicity that all they had to do was turn up, and then turn up in Thurles in Semple Stadium for the victory celebrations tomorrow night, but they certainly did the business. 2 minutes remaining as Desi Donnelly chips it in. It comes down off the goalkeeper, and it's another goal. It's another goal for Antrim. A goal by Donal Armstrong, I think, is the one who got it. Ken Hogan was the one who dropped it down, and Donal Armstrong gets a third goal for Antrim, putting a bit more respectability on that scoreline. Desi Donnelly, a difficult one for Ken Hogan, couldn't quite hold on to it, and watch as it broke out to the man coming in on the right, and that was Donal Armstrong. So just over a minute to go, and Tip, who won the first All-Ireland in 1887, seem poised to maintain their record of having won the championship in every decade. Kieran Barr tussling with the other captain, Bobby Ryan. Bobby breaking the stick, calling for a replacement up towards his brother Aidan Ryan. Leonard McKeegan there for Antrim. Mickey Sullivan there with the red helmet for Antrim, and it's Declan Ryan, one of Tip's goal scorers. Paul McKillen. Aidan Ryan, who shared in their monster triumphs. On to Nicky English. Oh, it's a bullet! It's a superb goal! An exquisite shot! Precision shooting from English! And as the seconds tick down and the fans come in, there can be only one result. Aidan Ryan supplied the ammunition, and watch this for a volley finish from one of the greatest strikers in the game at the moment. English number 15 met it first time. Wham! Top of the net. Superb goal.
Well, I forecast at the start of this program before a ball was struck that English would have the game of his life for the big time. 2 goals, 11 points. I think I was right.
Well, it's been a devastating afternoon where Tipperary are concerned in their mentors and substitutes. That's it! Tipperary are the champions. The famine is well and truly over, and Tip's hunger is fulfilled. The team that Bob's built, aided by Theo Andoni, has bridged an 18-year gap as Tip win. The final score was Tipperary, 4 goals and 24 points. Antrim, a disappointing team this afternoon, 3 goals and 9. Well, there was some devastating stuff in that second half, some great goals as well. None better, surely, than that clinical and classic finish by English, who ended up with a personal tally of 2 goals and 12 points. And so Tipperary, with that final score, are the champions for the 23rd time. The McCarthy Cup returns to the Premier County.
Remarkable performance by Tipperary. Antrim came with the right attitude, some very good players, but not enough good players to keep it closer than double scores. Who is going to be the man of the match? With the 2 Bonners, particularly young Connell and Collum, were outstanding. So was John Kennedy, Declan Carr. But Nicholas English scored 2 goals and 12 points. That's 18 points, which exactly equals Antrim's total for the entire game. I do not pick the man of the match, but if I were, and there's no doubt about it, feast of an artistic hurling from Tipperary, but Antrim's attitude made it the spectacle it was. They didn't stoop low, they didn't try anything underhand, they came out to play and give us a game that hurling, the sport in general, has wanted all through 1989. And there's the man who takes over from Tygo O'Connor as the last Tipperary man. to receive the Liam McCarthy Cup. There'll be some celebrations down in Borrisolee after this. One of the great servants of Tipperary hurling, Bobby Ryan. That's Cormac Bonner as Bobby goes up to receive the Liam McCarthy Cup. Ger, what a moment.
Yes, indeed, it was Bobby Ryan's day, no question about that. But let's give credit to people like Babs Keating and Theo English and Donny Nealon and Phil Conway, who had the side looking alert and sharp, and the county board who provided all the necessary encouragement and diligent hard work. Young Declan Ryan thriving this afternoon. And people like Noel Morris and Tommy Barrett, who fought long and hard in the interest of Tipperary hurling. They deserve their place in the sun. And mention also for Michael Lowry, who was responsible for bringing Babs in as team manager, and the supporters club who raised the finance to ensure the team was properly prepared. People like Dennis O'Connor who did the Trojan work. But most of all, it's the Tipperary team themselves as Antrim go down to greet their fans up on Hill 16. A moment we'll all remember. But they had to give second best on a day when Tipperary were simply magnificent. John Dowling to make the presentation.
Our son coming look that scale. August Mahon Finn. Boalum, the Gorgeous and Goal, they're furring Tibber and new. It is my great pleasure, on behalf of Central Council of the GAA, to compliment and congratulate Tipperary on a magnificent victory here today at Croke Park. It is only proper that I should congratulate the good Captain Bobby here for the manner in which he has shown the good way over the years. And I would like to congratulate each and every one associated with this Tipperary success. I think each and every one of you gathered here today would expect me to salute the men of Antrim. They have played a wonderful part in what was an excellent game and particularly most sporting. I would like to thank the referee, the umpires, the linesmen, and all associated with our game here today. August finish for Gorgeous and Larish Bobby, August on Shin, Corn McCarthy for D. Tipper-Doran.
Like his uncle, Pat Stakel, 40 years ago, Bobby